Hello, everybody. So I have decided that I should do another public live stream. I don't do many anymore. Most are just in my private groups. But this is just too much of a fun opportunity to pass up. So I wanted to talk about one of my latest posts that I made that got quite a bit of flack, I'd say. And it's always those posts, the ones that are, people, especially women, seem to misinterpret some. Like most people on my wall are amazing. I love them, and they either get what I say or they will at least ask for clarification. But of course, there's always going to be some people that I don't know, their minds just go completely red and they go crazy and start just immediately going into blame and disagreement mode. And so I thought this would be a really fun topic to discuss for a few minutes. So, of course, the post in question that I'm talking about is the one I did, I guess it was yesterday, and I'll just read it for everybody. A woman has no need to ever tell a devoted man no. It would be disrespectful to do so. Okay. And I want to read, there was a few abusive comments, and I deleted a bunch of them, but I left a couple of them up for people to read. So I'll just read those for entertainment and just to show people how some individuals unconsciously decide to misinterpret what I'm saying and have no interest in trying to interpret it correctly or ask for clarification. So one woman, Teresa, who I blocked, said, "No to what? If it's sex, then that is not true. It's disrespectful for a man to think such stupidity. It says we must give ourselves to any man who wants us if he's respectful, regardless of how we're feeling. What absurdity is that? Women are free at all times and under all circumstances. Your thinking is low-level rape culture thinking." Okay. So I actually did try to, I didn't even block her right away. I just wanted to see if she was able to see, if she could see how she was being disrespectful. But no, of course she couldn't. I just blocked her in the end. And so let's talk about this one. So am I promoting, what did she say, low-level rape culture? Well, no. I never at any point said that a woman has no right to say no to a man. That would be absurd. That would be incredibly dangerous. That would be extremely sexist and just messed up in every way. Of course, I would never say something like that. Of course, a woman has the right to say no. Of course, a woman has the right to set a boundary. And in fact, it's a very, very good idea for women to know how to set boundaries and how to say no and be willing to say no to anything that she's uncomfortable with, right? Because if she doesn't know how to, or she's not comfortable enough to do it, then she's setting herself up for abuse. Setting up herself up for abuse, setting herself up to be a doormat in a relationship. And of course, that would never be anything that I would promote in a million years. That's terrible. And a lot of women have been in situations like that. And I think that probably a lot of women who do get triggered by my posts have been in relationships like that where they had to eventually learn to say no and now never want to stop saying no. Put it like that, right? Like that's now their defense. Hey, everybody, I can't see all of your names. Hey, Maria, most are just say Facebook user. So someone says, hi from London. She needs objectified. If anyone watches me, and you can always sign in to StreamYard. I think it just takes a second, and then I can see everybody's actual names. It's just, unfortunately, I use StreamYard. I don't stream directly from Facebook. Yeah, so anyway, of course, I believe that women should have the right to say no. And I want to read a second, before I get into this more, I want to read this second comment. I really like this one. This was really sweet from this woman. So Lisa, who I have also blocked, said, "I am starting to think that you are a little qualified to be offering relationship advice. as some of the things you say, Zach, are to be put bluntly misogynistic. Whose work have you been reading and absorbing and regurgitating as your own? You are advocating ownership, not leadership. And on what authority? Just setting up as a relationship expert with no experience and no research. Feel free to delete me, this post, or both. I'm appalled by some of your posts, to be honest, just to try to make money with teaching that are questionable in the extreme. Not good. I cannot recommend, as it's encouraging male control behavior. A huge no and vocal, oh no, huge and vocal no to that. Yeah, I think that was my favorite one out of all of them. Yeah, so like I said, of course, a woman should have the right to say no. She is a human being. But what is my post actually getting at? So I'm going to read it again, and then I will explain for those that are not completely clear. A woman has no need to ever tell a devoted man no. It would be respectful to do so. Okay, so there's two parts of this, isn't it? A woman has no need to ever tell a devoted man no. It's not that she doesn't have a right to, it's that she has no need to. Because if she is with a devoted man, all she has to do is express how what he wants her to do makes her feel. Maybe that makes her feel uncomfortable. Or maybe that makes her feel really disrespected, or it would make her feel really like it would just hurt, like she feels hurt being asked to do this, or she just feels like really exhausted. I'm not even talking just about sex, though I think some people interpreted it that way and went right to sex. I'm talking about anything, right? So if a man is devoted and he is in tune with his woman's needs, then she doesn't have to say no to him. She just has to say how she feels. And a man, if he is devoted to her heart, is going to adjust his leadership accordingly. And, most of the time, if it's something that is where it's like, oh, I don't want to hurt my woman in that way, or like that, okay, I understand now how she feels. I didn't realize that she felt that way in that moment until she told me, okay, now I'm going to readjust my leadership because she feels that way, right? So that's part of it. And of course, a devoted man takes that extremely seriously. He doesn't want to ever hurt his woman. He doesn't ever want to make her feel bad. He doesn't ever want to put her through a lot of discomfort. Of course, that doesn't mean that he's never going to be persistent with something, because sometimes he will think, or he will know that, or at least be quite certain that that is something that will, that despite her having some fears, perhaps, that it would be beneficial for them to do something, right? And then he would say, okay, like, I understand how you feel, reassure, like, I think we should do this, right? And then a woman can decide, of course she could still say no if she wants to, or she could say yes, and then see how it goes with her man's leadership. And sometimes, a lot of the time, if he's quite in tune with his woman, most of the time it would go really well. And then she'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad I didn't say no to that. I'm glad I just expressed my feelings. And then, sometimes maybe it wouldn't go the way that the man wanted. And then she would express her feelings again, right? And then if he's a devoted man, he would take full responsibility for his decisions, right? Because he was the one that said, like, let's do this. I know you feel this way, but let's do this. And then, if a devoted man hurt his woman in any way because of his decisions, he's going to feel terrible. Of course, he's going to feel terrible. And then he's really going to be adjusting his behavior in the future to make sure that that doesn't happen again. He's going to take full responsibility for that. He's not going to make excuses. He's going to take full responsibility because he cares so much about his woman. He's always leading in his woman's best interest, in his relationships, in the best interest of the relationship. And so, just reading the comments here. So please own me. Haha. Yeah, right. Another Facebook user, give the man the data so they can give us what we need. Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, saying no is not useful information to a man. It's not useful. It's like she's just saying no, and like, and it really doesn't feel good to a devoted man, right? And that's the second part of this. It feels disrespectful because if she just gave him the information, right? Gave him like the problem for why it's like an issue for her, like maybe she has to express a need or she's expressing her feelings, whatever it is. That's all he needs. That's all he just needs, that information so that he can lead better. A no is not information. That's her leading. A no is masculine. Saying stop is masculine. Saying don't do that is masculine. And again, if a woman wants to do that, if she wants to step into her masculine with her devoted man, that's fine. That's her right to do it. But that's not going to create a polarized relationship, that her stepping into her masculine, going out of her feminine. And that what's that doing is showing that she doesn't trust her man's leadership, right? Because if she fully trusted her man's leadership, then she would just have to express how she feels. It's as simple as that, right? That's easy. But instead of her doing that, a lot of women are just stuck in this no, no, no. I'm empowered. I get to say no. It's my right to say no. You're right. It's your right to say no. But it's not going to create the most ideal polarized relationship. It's not going to make your man feel good if you're saying no to him all the time, instead of just expressing your feelings and then letting him choose to adjust his leadership. What else do we got? A couple more questions. I wish all the women that got triggered on the original post could hear this live. Yeah, well, too bad they're blocked. Most of them anyway. I think I blocked like 4 or 5 of them. Facebook user says, this is very nuanced and valuable. I always felt like a clear boundary is more direct and men appreciate directness, but I understand the nuance of the devoted masculine man, right? Yeah, like you need to be direct with men that don't give a shit about you, but then why would you be with such men in the first place, right? Like if I was a woman, this is just me. If I was a woman and I expressed my feelings to a man, and it was quite clear that he wasn't interested in being devotional to my feelings and leading in my best interest. It's like, okay, bye. I'm not gonna have to, I don't want to like step into my masculine a lot and have to say no to him because he doesn't care about my feelings. No, I'm gonna find a man who does. It's as simple as that, because I'm worth that as a woman. That's how I would feel. It's really simple. Raquel says no is not masculine and not in itself leadership. No, it is actually. If you're trying to do anything for outcome, it is a form of leadership and it is masculine. You're unfollowing me. Okay, that's your choice. You need to see things from a female perspective. You're going to take the stance of a coach. Okay, bye. Facebook user says, yes, exactly. Just in the dating process. Jennifer Nelson says, how is saying stop masculine? Okay, so saying stop is masculine because whenever you say anything to try to get an outcome, it is masculine. The masculine tries to get an outcome. The feminine just expresses without trying to get an outcome. So if you just express your feelings like, hey, I feel really uncomfortable, right? Assuming you're not trying to manipulate, then you're just expressing your feelings. You're not trying to lead to any outcome at all. Just expressing the feelings. That's feminine. If you say, stop, don't doing that, stop doing that, or I don't want you to do that, or whatever, what you are doing is you are trying to get an outcome. You're trying to get him to stop. You are leading him in that moment. And that is why it is disrespectful. If it's to a devoted man, right? Because once again, if it's not a devoted man, then, it's like when a man is devoted, he cares so much about his woman that it feels like an insult for her to not trust him when he clearly cares so much about her and would clearly do anything to be devoted to her heart, right? Of course, if a man's not devoted and he doesn't really care about her and he's just in it for himself, right? He's just using her for whatever and doesn't take responsibility for his actions, for how he affects his woman, then yeah, that's not disrespectful because he's still a child. He's still a child. He's not a devoted man. He's not a masculine man. He's a child. Yeah, so I'm specifically talking about devoted men, masculine men, real men, not little boys. Yeah, boundaries are masculine energy. Exactly. Boundaries are masculine energy. And again, that doesn't mean it's wrong for women to use their masculine energy, and it doesn't mean that they shouldn't have the ability to use masculine energy. They definitely should. They have the right, and they definitely should have the ability. Why? Because there are crappy guys out there. There's abusive guys out there. There are takers. There are guys that will take advantage. There are guys that just are not interested in using their masculine energy and their masculine leadership in the best interest of a woman. So absolutely, women should have the ability to say no, right? Because you don't want to be stuck with one of those men, and then it's like you just go along with his leadership. You express your feelings and he doesn't care, right? He just keeps on leading the way he selfishly wants to anyway. How many women have been in that situation? Tons of women, right? Tons and tons of women. And so I am not underemphasizing how important it is to be able to say no, to be able to say stop, to be able to say don't do this, right? To be able to set firm boundaries, not just with like a man in a relationship, but also out in the world. It's a useful skill, absolutely. And knowing where your boundary is, right? Knowing what feels good and what doesn't feel good, and not making excuses for things when something doesn't feel good, when you can feel that a man's not interested in devoting to you and devoting to your heart. It's super important, guys. It's super important. Vanessa says, can this apply to male friends and other men outside of intimate relating? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. Like I think women should always be expressing their feelings with men, no matter who they are, and see which ones are actually interested in adjusting their behavior and being devoted to you. Like good men will want to do that, whether it's to a woman that he's in a relationship with, or just it's like a stranger, a coworker, or daughter, or mother, or whatever it is. Good men want to do that. That feels good for us, right? It feels good for us. And then the ones that don't, well, now you know to be wary of those ones. Now you know those are the ones you just shouldn't spend time with, or at least, you know, you're gonna have to set boundaries with them, because they don't know how to be men. They don't know how to be men. Okay, let's see. That's just another abusive comment. I'm going to ignore that one. Aaron says, I think the women that are getting triggered don't know what an actual devoted man is. Yeah, and that's really sad, right? Like a lot of women they've just been in abusive households with abusive partners, just ones that are just like subjugate a woman or subjugate women, think that they're above them, think that, you know, women shouldn't have rights, that, you know, like that. Of course I don't support anything like that. But if that's been a woman's reality, then what are they going to see when they listen to me? They're just going to project all that stuff onto me. I'm not really into being to playing that role, you know. That's just not me. If you don't believe, if you don't see the truth of what I'm saying, that's fine. That's your business, and hopefully you figure it out sometime. But you know, I'm sorry that men have not been devotional to you, but that's not me. I'm a devotional guy. I've been with a devoted man 8 years, still friends. We weren't fully polarized or healed. Maria says, thanks for bringing up so much clarity. Dawn says, so glad you bring up how to deal with crappy dudes, like step into masculine, because they can't seem to understand feminine energy. Yeah, absolutely, right? Jennifer says, I am understanding what you're saying now, but having boundaries are very important, because most men will just push to see how far he can go until she says stop. Well, like, it is very important. Like, I definitely am not going to disagree with that. I don't know if it's most men, though. It might be most men that you're experiencing, like you might be attracting that, and like there's certainly many women that's what they're attracting. But I think that once, because that's the thing, right? It's like it's like creating your own reality, and that it's like the universe is kind of giving you what you need. Once you have those boundaries for yourself, you're going to start attracting a different caliber of man, ones that don't want to push those boundaries, ones that want to just be good for you, right? And but you really don't know until you're actually expressing your feelings and you're expressing them vulnerably, and then you'll really see what kind of caliber man you're dealing with. Maria says, if a man really cares for you, you won't need to set up boundaries because you won't try to cross. Yeah, he's just going to care about your feelings. You just have to express your feelings. Okay, so this is actually way longer than I expected to go, 20 minutes, so that's great. Hopefully that really explains things for everyone with what I was getting at. If you haven't joined my free group yet, please do that. The link is in the over the description of the comment, right? If you want to really get into this stuff, I really encourage you to join my subscription group. Just go to my website, relationshipyourdreams.com. You can find out all that information about that, sign up, and that's what's really changing women's lives and men's lives for the men's group. It's hugely transformational. Like, this is the kind of stuff that we talk about. We go really in depth with it, because imagine believing that like something like this, where you have to be enforcing boundaries with your man all this time when you don't really have to. And if you're with a man who really cares, then it's completely 100% unnecessary. You just have to express your feelings, and it's that simple. And if you're not with a man like that, well, why are you still with that guy? That would be my first question. Because I know if I was a woman, I would not be with that guy. There's no way that I would be with a guy as a woman who I don't feel safe enough with to be in my feminine energy and to allow him to set boundaries for himself if I just express how I feel. There's no way. I just would not live a life like that as a woman. I would want to live my life as a feminine woman, where I can just be free and just be expressive and trust that my man will set his own boundaries. I think that's insanely important. Yeah, so if you don't have that in your life, I really hope you start to really think about that, and realize that if you're a woman, you deserve that. You deserve nothing less than that. And if you don't have it, well, I would set that as an expectation for any relationship. That's an expectation, not an entitlement, right? Difference between entitlement and expectation, but like, that's what you deserve. That's what you should be looking for. You shouldn't settle for anything less. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be doing more videos in my free group. I will be doing videos on my wall for a while, though. It's just going to be probably till the end of December, and then it's just going to be in my free group once I get enough members in it. So if you haven't joined yet, please join, because that's where all my free content is going to be. Thank you very much, and I will hopefully see you guys soon.